Mercy already. Well, not deep into No Mercy, but we're going to do it all over again. So let's get started. Welcome everybody to episode 24 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast.
Take two,
because if you're listening to this on audio version, I've already clipped this out, but we didn't have audio for like the first we had audio on the audio version. We didn't have audio on the video version for the last
like 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Anyway, we are Super Grapple Bros, podcast about two brothers who are former WWE employees. We like to talk about wrestling and video games every single week. And this is the No Mercy review show. We're going to be reviewing No Mercy, then going over our predictions, because we make predictions for every single pay-per-view event that WWE does. Then we're going to be touching on maybe some of the bigger storylines coming out of WWE this week before transitioning into the video game realm and going over video game news, which includes WWE 2K18 DLC reveal, Overwatch news, our weekly Overwatch news segment, and then also this little thing called the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic came out.
Yeah, this little thing. It's like this big
little thing. And then the big story of the week, the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer came out, the story trailer. But we're just going to jump right on into it, and we're going to get into No Mercy review. I apologize ahead of time in case I cough a lot to those who are listening audio-wise, but I am overcoming a cold. So No Mercy overall, I feel like it was one of the better shows that WWE's put on this year. Like, I don't know if you agree with me, but like I really liked it. I didn't think there was a single bad match. There were some really good matches, and like maybe it's because of the fact that maybe I haven't been too impressed by a lot of the pay-per-views this year, but like I actually really enjoyed this one.
I enjoyed most of it. I'm going to say like 90% of it I enjoyed, but there were some things that kind of bothered me.
Okay. All right, we'll get into it. So, we're going to start things off with the kickoff show, which was Elias versus Apollo Crews. You know, it was what it was. It was a kickoff match, but they did go a little bit harder. It was a little more entertaining than like a traditional kickoff match from what I've seen.
Yeah,
like Elias,
hard to get noticed.
Yeah, Elias and Apollo Crews really wanted to make sure that they showed off what they could do with what limited time they had, and it was what it was. It was entertaining. It was good, and Elias won, which made sense.
Yeah, Drifter.
Mm-hmm.
Drift away.
Trying to make sure they push him. And Apollo Crews didn't look too bad there. He won last week against Kurt Hawkins, so like I don't think it really hurts him that much by losing. So
yeah,
anyways.
I don't think it hurts Kurt Hawkins by losing.
No, Kurt Hawkins always loses. So
exactly.
Yeah,
and he's still going strong.
Mm-hmm. I hope that losing streak never ends.
Yep.
Anyway, we've now we're getting into the main show. The first match that happened was the Miz versus Jason Jordan for the Intercontinental Championship. And that was a really good match.
Yeah,
I really liked that match. Like Jason Jordan and the Miz brought it. I liked the ending. I liked the involvement of the Miz Taraj. It was cool that Bo Dallas distracted for Axel to get in the cheap shot right into the skull crushing finale. We both thought that it was going to be Jason Jordan's crowning moment, but I guess they're going to hold off on it for a while. I mean, the Miz is red hot right now. He has been for almost the past calendar year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense. And the match was great. The only thing that bothered me was after the match, Jason Jordan got on the mic with Renee Young, and the crowd booed the hell out of him.
I wouldn't say the hell, but they did boo him.
I feel like they booed the hell out of him.
Because there were times where they were cheering for him and stuff, but yeah, he could have done a little better on the mic.
I would have said that it was, if we're doing like a boo to cheer ratio, I'd say it was 80-20.
I'd say more like 75-25.
No, there was not a quarter of that audience cheer, or a quarter of those reactions were not cheers after the match was over.
During the middle of the promo, it was overwhelmingly cheering, which is why I say that.
The majority of the middle like 5 seconds maybe. Like they maybe cheered once for 5 seconds out of like a minute or not even a minute, like 2 to 5 minute promo afterwards.
It was 2 minutes tops.
Still. 5 seconds out of 120 seconds is not 25%.
It was more than 5 seconds. I think you're remembering it wrong, because I remember there were boos. They weren't that loud. They switched to cheers for a little while and then went back to boos when he ended it by saying, "And Miz, I think you suck."
I mean, that was an awful line, but
exactly.
Still, I don't care. I feel like when somebody puts on a performance like he just did in the ring, you don't boo that man.
A lot of people don't think that way.
Yeah, well, I think it's stupid. It's dumb. I feel like The dude went and busted his ass, and he's been doing relatively well in promos to begin with. You should, give him the benefit of the doubt, even if that whole line was a little like 5th grade.
Yeah. But
no, Miz, you suck. I don't suck. You suck. Okay, did I do it well?
Yeah.
Sound like a 5th grader?
Then he ran off to his daddy.
Yeah. Then what do we have next? I believe it was a tag title match after that, wasn't it?
I thought it was...
this is not lined up with what actually went down.
I thought it was Balor or Wyatt after that.
Was it Balor Wyatt?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to say, here lies Bray Wyatt's career. May it rest in peace.
Yep.
Because Bray Wyatt wanted to face the man, not the supernatural demon. So the supernatural cult leader, Bray Wyatt, wanted to face regular man Finn Balor, not the supernatural demon Finn Balor that actually beat him. Beat him within an inch of his life, and then still lost.
Yep.
Beat him within an inch of his life from behind before the match, and still lost. Bray Wyatt has zero credibility as a superstar now.
Yep.
I will not believe that he can beat anybody. I am not, and this is me saying the character. Like, I'm not talking about Bray Wyatt, the person, the human being, or everything, because he's an amazing person. But as far as Bray Wyatt, the character, from a storytelling and writing standpoint, I don't give 2 craps about him anymore. I really don't care. I am not invested. I will not believe a single word that comes out of his mouth, because he had to jump this guy, specifically chose this match so he would have the advantage, attacked him from behind and nearly had him taken out via injury in order to gain an even more of an advantage, and he still lost the match.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that bothers me about it is the fact that now it's basically he's like the reverse of John Cena, where they refer to John Cena as Big Match John. When there's a big match, he can get it done. He's Big Match John. With Bray Wyatt, he's the opposite. If there's a big match, he's gonna lose.
Big loss, Bray.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how we went from Elimination Chamber, where he was a WWE champion and we thought he was finally going to get the shake he deserves, to just I would say, assassination of the character. But an assassination is done quick. This is they decided, we've changed your mind on you. We don't like you. So we're dragging you into our chamber of horrors and going to torture your character to death. Slowly and painfully.
The main thing that bothers me about it, though, is the fact that they gave him WWE title. Yes, he's finally going to get his rub. Then he lost WWE title. All that sucks. But then when they brought him over to Raw, they were making him seem really strong because he was ending every Raw for a while as the last guy standing. And then they just slowly
That was to build him up for Money in the Bank. Then what happened in Money in the Bank? He didn't win Money in the Bank.
Yeah, then he just slowly kept going down further and further and further. And they included him in the Fatal 5-Way match. And I thought he might actually have a chance to become #1 contender. And he lost that. And then they did a random rivalry with Seth Rollins, which he won, but because it wasn't that good of a rivalry and that good of a match, it didn't really do much for him. And then they put him in a rivalry with Finn Balor, in which he loses 2 pay-per-view matches in a row. They just kind of killed everything.
Yeah, to be honest, Bray Wyatt, the character, I don't not just see him as a not legitimate threat to challenge for the Universal Championship. I don't even see him as a legitimate threat to challenge The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't even think his character is strong enough anymore to challenge for the, not to be offensive to the Intercontinental Championship, but the quote-unquote mid-card title.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not being disrespectful, just that's the place it's given. It's a very prestigious title, but yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yep, so that was a thing that happened, and
that's one of the main things that, like I said, I was upset with over the night. That match I felt was kind of lackluster.
The match was a lot of pauses. The match was good for what it was.
It was all right,
but Wyatt should have won that match. I don't care if you have Balor fight back and maybe challenge Wyatt, but give Wyatt the win.
You don't even necessarily have to give
Wyatt just win in convincing fashion and go to a third match.
Or at the very least, have it something where it's Bray Wyatt is dominating him and Finn Balor happens to get
the win.
Yeah, exactly. Happens to get a roll up, maybe grabs the tights or whatever, and just barely get the 3 count. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it so that way it looks like he is a dominating force and can do some damage.
Especially when you're, when you're supposed to be the supernatural cult leader. You're
Yeah.
supposed to have these extra powers. You're supposed to be like a special being, like you wouldn't see the Undertaker in a situation like this.
Yeah, I mean, he even said in his promo right after he attacked Bray Wyatt that you forgot that I am a god. And then he immediately loses the match after attacking a guy and calling himself a god.
Yeah. It's like, and like Finn Balor, yeah, he's a main eventer, but he's not like your Roman Reigns or your Seth Rollins or your AJ Styles. He's not like your bona fide main eventer, gonna be a future Hall of Famer type guy. Like Balor could be that in the future, but he's not at that point in his career right now. He's not at that status at that level right now.
I think he could be if he was given better rivalries than Bray Wyatt and Elias Sampson.
That's besides my point. My point is where Finn Balor is in his career right now. It's like if the Undertaker, when battled Steve Austin, like after he won the King of the Ring, but before he became like full on Stone Cold Steve Austin and like won the championship from Michaels, and like Undertaker did all this crap to that era Stone Cold Steve Austin and lost.
Well, I think the issue here is you're comparing him more to someone like The Undertaker and not so much as someone like Papa Shango, which is the level Bray Wyatt's at right now.
It's true. That is, he's kind of being treated like a Papa Shango.
But
it's bad. All right. Well, moving on. After that, was that when we had the tag match next, I believe? I believe the tag match was after that. We had Rollins and Ambrose versus Sheamus and Cesaro.
The
Bar.
Sheamus and Cesaro.
Cesaro? Oh, yeah, because he's got no teeth.
Yeah. People have been making that meme a week of. Sheamus and Cesaro. The Swiss Superman.
This match was amazing. Possibly match of the night, maybe?
Yeah. The only thing that I think came close other than that to match of the night maybe was Reigns Cena.
Yeah, Reigns Cena was freaking awesome. We'll get to that later. But, yeah, they just beat the hell out of each other. Sheamus taking the turnbuckle the hard way, losing two of his teeth. Yeah, Cesaro, not Sheamus.
He didn't lose them. Did you hear about this? He needs surgery. He didn't lose his teeth. They got knocked
into his gums?
Yeah, knocked up a few millimeters into his gums.
Oh, that. And you know what then? Props to Cesaro, because I imagine that was like probably 10 times more painful than actually getting them knocked out.
Yeah, and on top of that, he was bleeding, and he freaking powerbombed Seth Rollins onto Dean Ambrose off the top rope.
Yeah.
And they kicked out. Such a good match.
Yeah, so good. And like, it wasn't so much like a steel cheap victory that really hurt the Bar either, because it was a back and forth match. They had near falls. They tried almost everything, and then like they were still winning the match, and then basically it took like a distraction, a quick knockdown, and then the double finisher pretty much.
Yeah, a slight mistake on their part of Sheamus accidentally hitting Cesaro with his finisher.
Yeah, followed by Rollins and Ambrose's double finisher. So it's not like they went down like punks. Like, that was an amazing match, and like
they beat the hell out of them and happened to lose.
Can we just say for a second and just acknowledge for a second how amazing of a tag team Sheamus and Cesaro have become over the last year?
They are, not only have they become an amazing tag team, they are living up to the name of the Bar, and the entire tag team division across the entire WWE has been stepping it up a notch, because for the last how many months we've been saying that the tag team matches have quite possibly been, or have been, the match of the night every pay-per-view.
Hardy's Sheamus and Cesaro, Ambrose Rollins versus Sheamus and Cesaro, and then New Day versus Usos, and even to a little bit of an extent, like when the Fashion Police had their little like match or two against the Usos. Like, those have all been great matches. Yeah. Some of the better matches, if not, like we said, the best matches of their respective pay-per-views.
Yeah, they've been firing on all cylinders, and they're just getting more and better tag teams as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't wait for Scott Dawson to feel better and have the Revival get mixed into all this stuff.
Yeah, hopefully they don't get hurt again after like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
They need to break that bad luck.
Yeah. They went through all of NXT without getting injured.
Yep. Well, not true.
True, yeah.
I think it was Dawson was actually hurt and out for like a year in NXT with like a bad knee injury.
But that was when he came back is when they started the Revival.
Yeah.
He was a singles competitor at that time.
Well, I thought you were referring to the Revival not as a tag team, but as like those two guys individually.
Well, I'm saying them as a tag team had not gotten injured until they made their main roster
because Scott Dawson was was one of the clients of Sylvester Lefort back in NXT, and then he got hurt, and then they dropped Sylvester Lefort. Rusev was also a client of Sylvester Lefort, and then Lana showed up, and then Rusev, woof, went up to the main roster and crushed. But around that time, Dawson got hurt, and then things changed. But then, and then Dash Wilder came in, and best thing that ever happened to him.
So good together.
Original name, the Mechanics, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, so we went off on a tangent there. Next match after that, that was
Women's title.
Women's title, right?
Yep.
Yeah, women's title. Alexa versus Nia versus Sasha versus Emma versus Bayley. God damn, was that a match? That match was all... I loved that match. That was amazing.
WWE, thank you for giving Emma something to do.
Yes.
And showing that she can work her ass off.
And that she can hang in there with everybody else.
Yes. That is one of the main things I was looking for in this match, and they delivered. Emma can hold her own in this division. Thank you for finally showing this.
Yep.
Especially since you're going to have Asuka coming into the division soon. You need this.
Mm-hmm. But good God, just... Those 5 ladies went out there and left it all in the ring, and they killed it. They killed it. The spot where, where I think it was Bayley and Emma grabbed Nia from the apron, and then Alexa and Sasha drop kicked her so that way it would turn into a powerbomb.
Yeah,
that spot was amazing. Good. So good.
Yeah.
So goddamn good. And then, as I expected, Alexa came in and snuck in a win.
Can I throw in one little bit of news that I've heard? Kind of a rumor, but the news is, I don't know if you've heard, Paige is training at the Performance Center.
Oh, really?
And the rumor is they might want to bring her up to Raw or SmackDown. I'm hoping SmackDown, because SmackDown needs it.
SmackDown needs it.
Especially since Raw's about to get Asuka.
Yeah.
But I thought that was very interesting.
Paige coming back will be good. We all know that Paige can bring it. And, bringing Paige in, maybe bringing her in as a heel and having her battle the likes of Charlotte and Naomi and Becky, because SmackDown with Naomi, Becky, and Charlotte, they have 3 great faces.
Natty's good too.
And if they, Natty's
she's not
a heel.
face, but I'm saying she's good.
Well, that's the thing. And on the other side, Natty, she's okay as a heel. Carmella, she's okay as a heel. Tamina's kind of just there. I feel like if you bring Paige back, Paige could be the real top heel of SmackDown in the women's division.
I could see some real good rivalries between her and Charlotte.
And Becky, too.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
That'd be great. But yeah, women's match good. The only down I would give this, potentially, is that it was Bayley who ate the pin. She came back from injury just to eat the pin.
The only thing I'd say about that, though, is I don't mind it so much the way it happened, because it was a very quick hit with a finisher and then pinned as quickly as Alexa could possibly do it.
Like I said, it wasn't a huge problem that I had with it. Overall, this match was amazing. I thought it did great things for the women's division. And it makes me very excited to see what all these ladies are going to do in the near future, these coming weeks, these coming months. And it was just a little mini gripe. I'm like, Bayley's been beaten down enough over the last 5 or 6 months, and she just came back from injury, and you're going to have her eat the pin. It's kind of like, you're not really doing her character any favors, but it's a minor thing. It's a minor thing
that I do want to point out is there was a promo right after that match stating that Asuka will debut at TLC.
Yes.
So, look out for that, guys.
That's in December. So we've got about 2.5 months to go.
Unless they push it up for some reason, but
I doubt it, because you got Survivor Series in November, and I'm sure they'll have something that's not TLC in October.
Yeah.
Unless they're just gonna do Hell in a Cell. Yeah. Unless they're just gonna do Hell in a Cell in October, maybe they've. When is Hell in a Cell happening? It's in
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Well, I think it's actually 2 weeks. So it'll be 2 weeks from this Sunday, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if they decided after SummerSlam to scale back on just one pay-per-view a month per brand, because
I think only for a short period of time, because I think Raw's going to have another pay-per-view in October.
Okay, because I haven't heard anything about a Raw pay-per-view in October, and there was no SmackDown pay-per-view in September, so this makes me a little...
Yeah, they held back on pay-per-views for a little while, but I think they're going to start getting back into it again.
And then after we had the women's titles match, we had Cena versus Reigns, which was arguably the best match there.
Yeah.
Cena hit anything and everything. I'm pretty sure I saw a kitchen sink in there.
Yep.
at Roman.
That is exactly one of the things that he did.
But Roman kicked out.
The big dog.
The big dog kicked out of all of it. But it was an it was weird because it was more of it's so odd to have a John Cena match where it's John Cena that's like throwing out finishers galore and everything, and he's the one that's not getting the 3 count. He's not the one kicking out of everything, and
that's the reason I like this match so much, because it was a match in which the story of it was neither of these guys respected the other, and John Cena, as the veteran, did not respect Roman Reigns and did not think it would take this much to put him out. And the look on his face after the top rope AA and the look on his face after hitting the 2 consecutive AAs and Reigns kicking out showed that it was a story of, how is this guy still doing this? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I really liked about this match, is the fact that John Cena coming face to face with somebody who's just like him. Exactly.
In the ring.
And I liked it because it was a matter of, he thought that he was still the big guy, the top guy, and that he was like the guy in WWE. And, you know, he comes in, does his thing, he's Big Match John, and he gets in this match, and he's realizing more and more, wow, this guy could take a beating. Wow, he could take a beating. Wow, I'm surprised he has why is this, how did that not work? And it was like a slow progression from, okay, so he did this, to, what do I have to do to beat this guy?
And I think it took 2 spears to put Cena down.
It took a spear through a table. He didn't kick out of any spears, but he took a spear through a table. And then he got, the end of it was a Superman punch into a spear. Yeah.
Which, that's alright. It's surprising to see Cena kick out after a pin, after like, technically only taking 1 finisher into a pin. Followed by a pin. Like, that's rare.
Yeah, I mean, there were other times where Reigns tried pinning him and he kicked out. There were plenty of moments like that, especially in the beginning of the match. But he only got 1 pinfall after the spear. Yeah. And that's what did it. But very good match overall.
Mm-hmm. And then we had your quote-unquote cool-down match in between main events, which was Neville versus Enzo, which was a really good match. Like, Enzo did, like... I mean... I'm not saying it was, like, an amazing match or one of the best matches of the night, but for, like, no offense to Enzo Amore, for an Enzo Amore match, that was a really good match.
Well, you want to know why it was a good match?
And they had good storytelling, too.
You want to know why it was a good match?
Because Neville was in it?
Well, not only that, but a majority of the match was Neville beating on Enzo. Like, it was a 95% offensive in that match. And Enzo's 2 biggest strengths are his charisma, his skills on the mic, and his selling. So you have a match where he's just getting the crap beaten out of him, it's gonna look good.
Yeah.
Because he is very good at selling.
Yes, he is.
And this is one of the things that kind of upset me, but as I mentioned to you before the show, the following night made it all worthwhile. I was very upset that Neville is no longer the Cruiserweight Champion.
I actually like
Neville
the finish,
is my guy. I know, I'm okay with the finish. I was upset at the fact that, but Neville's not champ anymore.
I mean, that was sad, but like when I saw it, I'm like, if he was gonna lose it to Enzo, this is the way he loses it to Enzo. Exactly. Like, Enzo distracts the ref, and then he didn't just kick Neville in the nuts. He punted his balls as if he was trying to kick a 60-yard field goal in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, he annihilated those poor little buddies.
And then he seriously stacked them up.
Yeah. So, like, that was a hell of a thing. And, like, once I saw that, I was like, perfect Enzo Amore, perfectly in his character. He's fed up. He's sick and tired of losing. He's always been a guy who will take the opportunity if it's there. And this is perfect for a double turn.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly
because Enzo's been teasing and acting kind of like a dick for like the last couple weeks, and now it's confirmed. And now this gives Neville a reason to chase and be that hard ass, I will beat the living crap out of you type of guy as a face.
Exactly.
So,
yep.
Good on you. Good work, guys. That was great. And then we move on to the main event of the evening, which was Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, which was a good match. It wasn't as extreme or as I would have liked it to have been.
It was not what we were expecting.
And I will say, I am getting sick and tired, because it's the second time this has happened, of these guys being, because it happened to Samoa Joe, now it's happened to Braun, of these guys getting talked up, looking like they made, making it look like they made Lesnar look human, look vulnerable, Paul Heyman talking them up, and then they fall to a single F5.
Yeah, exactly. That was my big thing. Is Braun Strowman has been destroying Lesnar for weeks. He is the first person to ever have Brock Lesnar carted out of an arena during a match, and you have him lose with one F5. What are you doing?
I'm not saying Strowman should have won, but Strowman should have been allowed the courtesy of being able to kick out of the F5.
At least once.
At least once.
Yeah.
If he took a second one and got pinned, I would have been fine with it. But it's like you build him up this much to where he dominates and destroys Lesnar. He should be able to take at least one of Lesnar's F5s, especially when all he took were Germans. And really only like 4 of those Germans were effective.
Yeah, and he had been destroying Lesnar a good amount of the match too.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like Lesnar had all the energy and muscle to throw into that F5.
Exactly. And it's the kind of end to a match that I'm not going to say kills, but definitely injures the momentum that they've been building on Braun Strowman for months and months and months. And I honestly think that, maybe Strowman should have won the match because they've been building him so much. And it's been built to that point where it's now a matter of, okay, so this has all been building for him to wrestle for and become Universal Champion and then dominate as a champion. And then he loses the match, and now where does Strowman go from here?
Yeah, now Strowman is like, what do we do with him?
You've been building up this whole thing with him just to cut it short, and now he's just lost.
I think what they should have done is, Strowman should have kicked out of the first F5, continued to pummel Lesnar, and then Lesnar barely gets off a second F5, gets the pin, gets the win, but almost cannot stand up.
Yeah.
Cannot get up. To the point to where he's weak. Maybe he rolls over and he's bent over or something. And the ref is trying to signal him to get up, but he doesn't get up, to the point to where maybe Paul Heyman gets concerned and actually goes into the ring and is like, Brock, are you okay? Brock, you gotta get up, get up, get up. And then, you won, and, he has to claw himself back to his feet, and he's, stumbling, barely on his feet, getting out. Yeah. And then Strowman gets up when he's on the ramp, and actually is standing relatively tall and strong and not really on his feet. So it looks like, Lesnar won, but Lesnar didn't win that match. He merely survived Braun Strowman.
Exactly. That's how it should have been done. If Lesnar was going to retain the title, that's how it should have been done. Because then it's, as Braun Strowman would always say, I'm not finished with you.
Yeah. You could say, I'm not finished with you. And then, if you want to give Lesnar a break, you could say, unfortunately, Lesnar is not going to be back for a while. Or Brock Lesnar's not in the building right now. Mm-hmm. He's not in the building this week. And unfortunately, Braun, you just have Kurt Angle be like, unfortunately, Braun, you lost. And there are other people looking to compete for the championship, as we found, Finn Balor was talking about it. So, maybe you then transition into a Finn Balor-Braun Strowman rivalry. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting.
And then you keep Brock Lesnar off for a while. They have them have, a couple-month-long series where they want to figure out who's going to be the next person to challenge him, maybe at TLC. And then if Braun loses that, at least they had 3 matches, and maybe Finn had to break out the demon to win the final match.
Yeah, exactly.
And then say Balor goes off and loses after that. Okay, well then you've got the Royal Rumble coming up. And you've got Braun, you've got Finn, you could have Braun dominating the Rumble. He doesn't have to win. And then you've got Roman in there too. It's not like you're keeping Roman out of the loop. If you give Roman this whole thing with The Miz for a while, he already has a win over Cena. And then come WrestleMania time, you start building him up again.
Yeah, a lot of rumor backstage is that the reason they did Reigns over Cena and Lesnar over Strowman is because they're still building to the idea
Lesnar of Reigns.
Of Reigns finally taking down Lesnar and building both of them up for WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Which I think it's a mistake to have that match at WrestleMania. I still think it should be Reigns and Strowman at WrestleMania. But
yeah. I have nothing against Reigns. I have nothing against Lesnar. But to be fair, we saw that match already, and it needed to be saved by Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's a good idea to have that match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you're building for The Rock versus Stone Cold for the WWF title at WrestleMania, and then you have The Rock versus Triple H. Triple H isn't a bad wrestler, but that's not what the people want to see.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're heading
I
towards
feel
right
like
now.
people just don't want to see Roman on top of like winning and victorious at the end of another WrestleMania for the third year in a row.
Yeah.
Like, and I like Roman. I don't have anything bad against Roman. I think Roman's a great wrestler. I think he's where he deserves to be. I think he's dealt with all the crap he's had to put up with,
He
and
deserves
he
to be called
has been
the guy.
having a hell of a year. But like, this has nothing to do with Roman Reigns, the person, or even the character. It's more the fact that like every WrestleMania, unless it's something like on the level of Rock and Stone Cold, like I normally don't want to see the same thing again.
Yeah.
At
Well, once
WrestleMania.
again,
Like I didn't like the Rock Cena too.
I wouldn't mind seeing Roman standing tall at the end of WrestleMania if it's against someone like Braun Strowman and they have another hell of a match.
Maybe, but like I almost kind of want Roman to take a back seat from the main event of WrestleMania, which he was technically supposed to do this year, and then Undertaker decided he was going to retire.
Yeah.
Which isn't his fault, but still, it's like I don't want 3 years of the same guy, like
Yeah, I can understand that.
being in the last match or winning the last match. I'd like it will be 3 years of Roman Reigns winning at WrestleMania and 4 years of Roman Reigns in the main event. Like I want to see like the roster is so deep that like I want to see other guys in that final match of WrestleMania.
Well,
I'm not saying that I don't want Roman in a marquee match at WrestleMania. I'm not saying I don't want him in a title match at WrestleMania. I just kind of don't want him to be the last match of WrestleMania. So maybe what we'll get is maybe the WWE Championship on SmackDown. Maybe that'll be the main event. That'll be the last match. And then we get Roman versus Lesnar like in the mid card. If that happens,
They won't
then
do that,
I'm just saying if that happens, if they book it like that, I'm fine with that. I just don't want the show closing out with the same guy for the 4th year in a row. That's all. And I would feel like that against anybody, not just Roman. The only people I feel like I maybe might not feel that way about would be maybe somebody on the level of like there's rare exceptions. Like the only person I could think of would be like maybe AJ Styles.
I was gonna
if
say
we're talking
Styles,
about people like on the roster right now, but like if it was Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho,
John Cena.
John Cena, if it was like any of those guys, like I'd feel the same way as if I do it with Roman. Like I just
we like you, we get it, but that's enough, guys.
Yeah, we've had enough of you. We'd like to see the wealth shared amongst other people.
Yeah. But
so
anyway,
that was a tangent to end the show. Mm-hmm. And the No Mercy review, I mean. That's been No Mercy. So now we get to the predictions results. Mm-hmm. And I really should have gone with Elias in that kickoff show because that ended up being the difference maker.
I bet you did.
You had Elias, I had Apollo Crews. That put you up 1-0. We both had Neville. Enzo won, so you had 1, I had 0. You had Balor, I had Wyatt. That's what I get for thinking that WWE is ever going to book Wyatt right. Mm-hmm. You were 2, I was 0. We both had Jason Jordan, but Miz won, so you had 2, I had nothing. We both had Rollins and Ambrose, so I finally got on the board. It was 2-1, or 3-1. I had Alexa, you had Nia, so it was 3-2. Then we both had Reigns, so it was 4-2. And then I had, or 4-3. Wait, 4-3?
Didn't you have Cena?
No, we both had Reigns. I think that means it's a tie and I win.
Oh, it's like, let me see this.
This is
because I'm fairly sure.
I could have sworn I did the math over. No, we had Reigns. I was debating between Reigns and Cena. And remember you said, well, I'm going with Reigns. And I said, well, I can't decide. And I was leaning more towards Reigns anyway, so I'm going to go with Reigns. So I think I might have actually retained on a tie.
No, because I remember I was going over this with Big Stupid that night.
This is what I had written down. I wrote our names down as we did the predictions last week. All I did was do circles. You can look over we can watch the video review if you want.
Alright, whatever.
But that's what I'm gonna recount anyway, just in case, because I thought that you had won too. So I'm like confused as well.
Yeah, because I'm fairly certain that you had, at least initially, picked Cena.
No, I was teetering, and then I picked Reigns. I was teetering. I said I didn't know who to pick. You said well, do you want to know who I'm going to pick? I'm like, well, I don't want to do that because then if I pick the same person, I don't want I don't want to end up picking the same person you did after you picked. And you were like, well, I'm picking Reigns. And I was like, well, I was leaning towards Reigns anyway. I was thinking Cena,
No,
but I'm going to go with Reigns.
Now I remember how it went. It was, you were saying that you were going to pick Cena, and I said
No,
that
I wasn't.
you were saying you were going to. I said I picked Reigns, said the reasons, and then you said you changed your mind and then picked Reigns.
That isn't how it happened. That isn't how it happened because that wouldn't have been allowed. I told you that I was teetering between Cena and Reigns, and I didn't know. And you said, "Do you want me?"
All right. Well, let's just.
Do you want me to tell you?
Let's just move on.
All right. Well, Elias, Apollo Crews. So you had one, I had nothing. Then you still had one, I had nothing after Neville Enzo. Balor Wyatt, you had two, I had nothing. Ms. Jordan, we both got that wrong. So you had two, I had nothing. We both had Rollins and Ambrose. That was 3-1. Alexa 3-2. 4-3. Yeah, it's 4-4 tie.
Because I remember having this whole talk with
you guys must
with Big Stupid, and he mentioned that he forgot that I had picked Balor and you picked Wyatt, and that with his count after rewatching the video.
That's with his count.
After rewatching the video, but whatever. Let's move on.
You sure you wanna?
Let's just move on. We've got time constraints. Let's just move on.
All right. Well, I guess this will be continued. We'll go to the video review, but currently the title is up in the air. But by my count, from what I wrote down, we are tied. And as that currently stands, tie normally is champion's advantage, and that would be me. But we will go over it. And if I did indeed pick Cena, and change my mind, then we will look into changing that to where you are the champion.
Okay. Well, let's just move on.
All right. So anyway, we've got ourselves anything big that happened on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT.
Let's see. There's the whole thing of Reigns having a match after doing Miz TV with The Miz, which is leading to next week Miz versus Reigns for the Intercontinental Championship. Mm-hmm. There was Braun Strowman just beating random people up. I'm trying to remember what else had happened. There was a tag team match of Sasha and Bayley versus Nia and Emma. And Alexa did a little promo in which Mickie James confronted her. The big things really were Braun Strowman destroying everyone, saying that he wants another shot at Lesnar. And the end of the night, which is the first time since 205 came live, the Cruiserweights closed out the show. And Enzo made sure to point it out to everyone. And he was talking about how everyone said that he was the dead weight on the team. And that look how it is now. He's holding this, and Cass is out with a bum knee. So who's really the dead weight in the tag team that they had? And then everyone came out from the Cruiserweight division, and Enzo started talking smack about all of them, saying that Cedric Alexander has no charisma. Can't remember exactly who else he was making fun of, but he was making fun of everyone on the roster, talking about how good he is, how he's the reason that 205 Live is doing as well as it did. And then Neville came down. Enzo had a stipulation or a signed dealie from Angle saying that if he was touched by anyone in the Cruiserweight division, that they would not get any kind of chance to win the title or to wrestle for the title. And then Neville attacked Enzo, and then Raw went off the air, and then Braun Strowman came out and attacked Enzo, and then the entire Cruiserweight division attacked Enzo. So the basic theme of it was Enzo was red hot on the mic and then just got the ever-living crap kicked out of him by everyone.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is very good. How can you suspend anybody when everybody broke the rules?
Yeah. Well, as he pointed out on 205 Live, guess I'm retiring with this belt.
Yeah.
And also, another fun thing about Monday Night Raw is the Bullet Club invaded.
Well, not on TV, but they showed up on site.
But it was all over social media. They were outside with flags and everything. It was really good. Mm-hmm. And another thing that happened is at, what's it called? Later on this week, they did this whole thing where WWE has now issued a cease and desist to at least the Young Bucks, saying that they are not allowed to use the Too Sweet symbol anymore, which I think is a little ridiculous given the fact that they were initially given the permission to use that by Scott Hall, one of the people who started using it, one of the main people who started and used it.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter. The thing is, who owns the legal copyright? Because
no one.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, that's where the issue is. WWE does not have a copyright on the hand gesture. They're trying to get a copyright on it now because people have used it in the past and because you've got people like Gallows and Anderson who use it on TV. But they do not actually have a copyright on it. No one does because it's a hand gesture. But Scott Hall, when they first started doing went to do the whole thing, he gave them permission officially from him.
You're absolutely sure that WWE does not own that copyright, because I would imagine that the second they started doing that and that became a thing, I would have imagined that WCW would have copyrighted the hell out of that, and then when WWE bought WCW by proxy, they technically would have owned the copyright, would have inherited it.
Let me ask you this. What other hand gestures do you know of that have a copyright on them?
That's
no. I'm just saying, like, it's such a rare thing. No one thinks, oh, I'm gonna do a copyright on a hand gesture, especially since a lot of times the hand gesture was done. It wasn't done on
WWE
TV
could also argue that it's not exactly a copyright, or it's not like the hand gesture isn't, and it's not the hand gesture is intellectual property because it represents the NWO. Too Sweet, and since they have the copyright or the rights to the NWO, they might be able to legally, through legalese, claim that since this is by proxy a symbol of the NWO, it is part of their intellectual property.
At the same time, they've tried doing stuff like that with people with the DX chop, and that didn't go their way. So I don't think they have much of a legal case for it, but they're throwing their weight around to try and do that, and I don't think they really have the money to fight WWE in a lawsuit about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't have an actual copyright on it. It's just like how Donald Trump tried to get the term "you're fired" copywritten, and it was shown, well, he's not the only one doing that. For example, Vince McMahon did it on TV. You can't copyright something if a bunch of people are doing it in
But the thing is, the difference between that, and I'm going to argue semantics here just for a sec, just entertain me, is the fact that "you're fired" is a phrase that was used by people long before Trump ever started using it on The Apprentice and tried to get it like copyrighted or trademarked. The Too Sweet hand gesture was never a thing until the NWO started doing it.
Okay, but it was done initially by the Clique in backstage stuff. It was originally a backstage thing that people would do, and then it became a thing with the NWO on TV, but it's been a whole thing of it's been used by people that are not a part of WWE on the indies and stuff since that time.
Yeah, but that's after it became popular through the NWO. Like maybe it was done a little bit in between like back channels or whatever, but it wasn't like a commonly used gesture.
In the world of wrestling, it did become it. It's like if Roddenberry tried to sue people over this.
You just started that out with "in the world of wrestling."
Not in the world of WWE.
Is commonly said by all people. It's not just only CEOs say, or only in the business world do you say do people say "you're fired"? People use that as a general phrase for a lot of different things.
Yeah, but that's like saying that WWE owns the entire wrestling world. If it's something that's spread throughout a culture, but not necessarily a specific company, you can't try and claim a copyright on something that's a part of the culture.
The thing is, you can argue that it was never really seen publicly, even if it was and it was contained to one business, one industry, and then it was popularized by this group and became a symbol of this group.
Okay. So it can be popularized, but if other people are using it at the same time, that doesn't, like I said, it's the same kind of thing of, they do this in Star Trek, people do this all the time. You can't sue someone over doing this because it was seen in Star Trek because they don't have a copyright on that specifically.
Well, that's also because most people who do live long and prosper aren't using it for profit. Aren't using it as part of their persona. I'm pretty sure if like another show, I'm pretty sure if the Orville started going around going, live long and prosper, or Vulcan me, bro, and started doing this, I'm pretty sure like Gene Roddenberry and the people behind Star Trek would be like, yeah, you're gonna stop that.
The line of live long and prosper, maybe, but them doing something like that,
I'm pretty sure the gesture is kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's still a thing of they don't have a copyright on the hand gesture. And the people who originally started using the gesture, came up with the gesture, gave permission to these people to use it, and that's when they started using it. And this has been going on for how many years?
You gotta realize
they're finally doing it.
You gotta realize we gotta move on from this. So I'll let you like respond back to what I say here, and then we'll move on. The problem with that is, and like I understand what you're saying. Like, yes, Scott Hall. I'm not arguing that like it isn't a dick move by WWE. It's definitely a dick move by WWE, and I think the Young Bucks should be able to use it. Although I also kind of see the Too Sweet symbol as kind of like a not really as like, please be more original, don't take from other people. And thanks, Brian T. Chappell, by the way, for the follow. I'll read your long thing in just a second. I just want to get this point out. And if I'm wrong by what he said, then I am wrong. But like, I'm just saying, like, the thing is with with the way the court systems and everything work, like, just because Scott Hall created the gesture and gave them like permission to use it, like, legally, if the WWE owns that gesture, that doesn't matter.
But that's the point I'm trying to point out is it's something that they don't own. As it was just pointed to us, they actually say that you can't do a gesture. If it's incorporated into a logo, it can be trademarked.
That's for trademarking.
But if you read up, under no circumstances
is this for trademarking or copywriting?
Under
two different
no
things.
Circumstances will the United States Patent and Trademark Office
allow
you to trademark office, a hand. I know, but it will not allow you to trademark a hand gesture since it would be impossible to enforce. And it's a matter of WWE does not have a trademark or anything on it. And with that logic of, oh, well, if WWE claims to own it, then they could sue with that same idea. People like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash could say, well, we're the ones who came up with that. We're going to sue WWE over it. And vice versa. Well, but it's a matter of it's not legally allowed to be trademarked.
Not really, because... Like,
you cannot legally trademark.
That's the thing, we're talking about trademarks.
Yeah, like, and that's the argument.
Is copyright law the same?
Yes.
No, they're two different things. No, I'm serious. Like, I've gotten El Murpho trademarked, and like you have to go through a whole different process to get something copyrighted.
But don't you have to get it trademarked first?
No. You don't have to get... No, because trademarks and copyrights are two separate things, like, legally. But a trademark is like the Loot Crate logo. Mm-hmm. Like, that is trademarked because that is being put on... Like, that logo is being put on as the brand's logo to be sold, like, in product form. Like, a copyright is more along the lines of, like, intellectual properties and stuff like that, of you owning it, and people thus can't copy it. Yeah. Trademark protects itself, protects items that help define a company brand, such as its logo. Yeah. So, like, I don't know everything about it.
Yeah.
And,
WWE does not have it copyrighted. They do not have the trademark.
Also,
they're
Young
trying
Bucks,
to now.
What I'm trying to explain is that I'm not saying that what you're saying doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And, like, isn't the right or wrong way things should be done. I'm just saying, like, in a legal sense, like, to what Cam said, because Cam just chimed in, like, the Young Bucks were using the Too Sweet before WWE even tried to get it copyrighted. Like, technically, that doesn't really matter. Like, could the Young Bucks maybe argue that in court, and could they get, like, a court decision like that? Kind of, yes. And could they get that decision reversed? Yes, but the thing is they have to go through that process, because when it comes to copyrights and trademarks, it normally comes down to whoever files the trademark and copyright and gets it through first owns it. It doesn't matter who used it first. What matters is who got the legal rights to it first. So, like, but if WWE, like you said, if WWE doesn't actually have the legal rights to it, then it's all up in the air. But if their copyright or trademark that they're trying to get through does go through, then technically, yes, they own the legal rights. And thus the Young Bucks have to go through a long, drawn-out legal court process, try and get that decision reversed and prove that they were using it beforehand and all that stuff.
Well, the shorthand version of what I'm saying is it's the idea of they currently do not have the trademark, they currently do not have a copyright, and they're trying to cease and desist over a copyright and or trademark that they do not currently have, is what I'm trying to point out.
But like
I understand they could get it, but I'm saying it doesn't really work if you don't currently
But they
own
have
it.
some legal footing over the fact that, like, they have a copyright out for it, and they own the they own and have trademarks in the NWO, and the Too Sweet symbol is thus intellectual property of the NWO, like an intellectual like property extension of the NWO. So they do have a legal claim to it. It's not a strong legal claim, and I don't think the Young Bucks shouldn't fight back because they probably should, but like, or they probably could, but I don't know if they would win that fight. And WWE like legally does have the grounds to do what they're doing, and I don't know if the Bucks would be able to win that legal fight in the long term, just from a matter of like court expenses and dealing with WWE lawyers and lawyer fees and all that stuff. But we're gonna move on from this. Big Stupid What's Up? We actually have some controversy with the belt because I went over the predictions that I had written down via initials last week, and it turns out that DMurph was not up by one according to that. We were actually tied, in which case champion's advantage means I get to retain the championship. However, there's a bit of dispute on how the prediction for Roman Reigns versus John Cena goes, so we got to go look over last week's episode to figure out the reasoning for that, and then we will crown a champion next week when we get all that cleared out and smoothed over. So that's gonna be. I think we should move on from from wrestling now and get into video games rapid fire real quick because we gotta get out of here soon. We'll make the transition easy by going into WWE 2K18 news. DLC revealed for WWE 2K18.
Yep.
And there's your standard fare stuff like the accelerator. The My Player Kickstart. So the accelerator like unlocks pretty much everything. Unlocks all the unlockables and whatnot. The My Player Kickstart allows you to give a boost to your character's stats in My Career, so that way you don't have to grind as much, or if you're like a more of a beginner or intermediary at the game and you really can't like win matches with such a low rating, this allows you to get increase your ratings so that way you're not losing all the time. Or if you don't want to be like grinding out every single match for 20 minutes, you get that My Player Kickstart and the matches are over a lot quicker because you'll be a lot stronger than everybody else. And then they also have, what was the new moves pack? You know what you remember what new moves are in there, right?
They didn't list all the new moves, but they listed that they're going to have some things like some moves from the Rock and Roll Express, as well as Ty Dillinger's new version of the Tiebreaker finisher in the new moves pack. Like I said, they didn't list everything. I believe it said they're going to have like 30-something new moves, which is pretty standard for their move packs. Like pretty much all of them in the past have had about 30 moves.
So the version of the Tiebreaker that's in the new moveset is the new version that he uses. That's like almost like a TKO onto the knee kind of thing, instead of like the flip over. So probably for his character right now, they probably have the flip over down there.
Which
I guarantee you they made him change that because AJ Styles uses it as a signature and they didn't want to tell AJ Styles that he had to change his move.
Yeah, probably.
And then we also had the what is it, the future? I should have it on here. The Future Stars or Future Generation pack.
It has Aleister Black. It has Ruby Riott. It has Drew McIntyre. It has Lars Sullivan. And I believe someone else.
I'm getting to it. I'll have it in 2 seconds. Aleister Black, Drew McIntyre, Elias, Lars Sullivan, and Ruby Riott.
Which I still don't understand Lars Sullivan because he's just starting to become a thing.
I don't even know who Lars Sullivan is.
Here's the story of him so far. He's in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in he was in 3 matches with 3 tag team partners. Lost every match, After that match,
Oh,
he attacked
he's
that
the
tag
guy.
partner.
He's the guy who keeps losing the tag matches and then just demolishes his partner.
Yeah. And then they
really
do the thing.
Interesting that they have him in there as opposed to say like a heavy machinery.
Yeah. Another thing I'll point out is, you know how with these takeovers, they do the takeover show, and then the following week is basically all the pre-show stuff for takeover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one that they did for this takeover, the week after, they were gonna have No Way Jose versus Lars Sullivan, and Lars Sullivan came out and attacked No Way Jose before the match, and then they did something on NXT where they had Lars Sullivan in a 3-on-1 handicap match against all of his old tag partners, and then had No Way Jose come out and confront him. And that's literally all they've done with Lars Sullivan, so I don't understand why he is being put in the DLC over some other people. But they are.
And then, it's the name of the pack is the NXT Generation Pack. And then what was the other one with characters? It was the where is it? The Enduring Icons Pack, which comes with the Hardy Boys, Beth Phoenix, and the Rock and Roll Express. So Hardys will be in WWE 2K18, but you gotta get them as DLC.
Mm-hmm. Which is a little bit of a dick move, but
it's a little odd considering they have the Hardy Boys in the commercials promoting the game.
Yeah, well,
and their DLC characters.
They want to advertise that you can have them in the game, but you have to pay some more money.
I guess so. Gotta get that money. Yeah, that money. Yeah, that money. Yeah.
Yep.
Millions of dollars.
I don't quite think that much.
Let's see. Well, Cam is touching on saying that he doesn't like that some people on the main roster are in DLC packs. The thing with that is the reason why they're DLC is because they either made the jump to the main roster or got onto NXT or became relevant on the NXT and on the main roster after their normal development cutoff for the roster. Like, there's a certain point in time in the development cycle where they cannot dedicate any more time to creating new characters because they have to move on to the other mechanics and all the different game modes and all the improvements they want to make and working with the engine and ironing out as many of the glitches as they can.
That they can.
Yeah, that they can. Emphasis on that they can. And then we also have the fact, and so basically, like, once they reach that cutoff date, they can't include anybody in the main roster in the main game anymore. So, like, and that cutoff date is normally around, I think, May. I think is normally the cutoff date. So, like, if anybody comes in or becomes super relevant between, like, say, late May or early June to about, like, say, August, like early August over the summer, then they become eligible for DLC because they know that people want to play as them because they became important, but they don't have the time to include them in the game. So they basically, once everything is out the door, they start working on they decide on who they're going to create, and then they work on those characters after everything else is done with the game. Or they've been able to, like, free some people up from their projects to go and work on those guys. But, like, if the game would get delayed if they wanted to keep constantly updating the roster like that, and, like, they have to make sure that the game is ready and out the door, and by the time they finish these people, it's already past that deadline of the game being finished. Mm-hmm. So that's why some of the main roster guys every year end up on the DLC.
Yep.
So, next you want to do your thing, your whole thing.
Boop, 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 boop. You see, it kind of kills it when you just kind of go like, oh, go do your thing. It has to be spontaneous.
Well, then, fine. I guess we can move on to other stories if you want. And then you can just throw it in whenever you want and, destroy my eardrum like you do every week.
So...
You want to do that again? More enthusiastically?
Boop, boop, boop.
Well, I was going to do it with you, so we actually had some enthusiasm.
No, you've killed. Anyway.
Why'd you kill the weekly Overwatch news thing?
This week. This week in Overwatch news, they've released a new comic focusing around Zarya, and I don't know the specifics about it, unfortunately, because apparently my phone hasn't wanted to actually load it, so I haven't been able to give it a read. I've literally been trying 4 days, and my phone will not bring up the comic. But I know it involves her involved with Volskaya Industries, and apparently having to resort to something she doesn't want to do, which is having to work with an Omnic to combat the hacker Sombra. So
interesting. So that's basically like a continuation of the Sombra short we saw.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to get to read it. But once again, hey Overwatch, Blizzard, maybe get these things working on phones properly, because I tried literally like 4 different browsers and it wouldn't load. So maybe get your crap together, Blizzard.
Come on, Blizzard. You're better than this.
Yeah.
All right, and then that's it for the weekly Overwatch news, right? Not a lot of Overwatch news this week?
Yeah, not much this week. I know they came out with the Junkertown map last week, but this week that's all we got.
Yeah. And then moving on from Overwatch to Nintendo, the SNES Classic is launching. I believe it launched yesterday officially.
It did launch yesterday.
And surprise, surprise, they're not out of stock.
Yeah.
There's apparently plenty of stock. Nintendo did it right this time, guys. It only took, 3 major consoles and a mini console and a couple of handhelds, but they got it right.
And not only is Nintendo getting it right, but also stores are getting it right. Because apparently last time with the NES Classic, there was all kinds of chaos when people were going to pick up their pre-orders. I've heard a lot of people saying, like, yeah, I went to Target to pick up mine, and they had a specific line, and it was ticketed, and they had 4 cashiers ready to hand them out, and it was actually well organized this time around.
That's awesome. That makes me feel good, because I didn't really have the money to pre-order myself an SNES Classic. So, this makes me feel good, because then I can go ahead and, actually go pick up an SNES Classic, within the next coming months, and not have to worry about it being the price of, an actual, Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So,
which is ridiculous. And I'm still waiting for it. I don't know if we've mentioned this before, and I don't know if you know about this, but they did say that they are going to start producing more NES classics.
Oh, yes. Good. Good.
I am more excited for than the SNES Classic because I've played more NES than SNES, and it's easier for kids to get a hold of with just, 2 very simple buttons, and that's what I'd primarily be getting it for.
That's another cool thing about the SNES Classic. It came with 2 controllers this time.
It came with 2 controllers, and I don't know if you heard this, the controllers for the SNES Classic work on the NES Classic and vice versa.
Nice.
Which is very cool.
Very cool. Good Nintendo news out there. A lot of good games on there, too. You got, I believe, The Secret of Mana is on there. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, arguably the greatest Zelda of all time. Arguably the greatest Final Fantasy of all time is on there as well. Final Fantasy VI, which is 3.
And they've also got Star Fox 2.
Yes, Star Fox 2, which has never been released in the US before, which I heard was, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, isn't Super Mario World on there too?
I'd assume so. I'm not sure, though.
I can't remember if Super Mario World's on there. So yeah, that's it for the Nintendo NES Classic news. Good news for once with Nintendo. Yeah. Good on you, Nintendo. Well, seriously, thumbs up.
As Bryant has pointed out, this is something I forgot to mention to you. They did also have a bit of an issue this week where they were talking about copyright strikes and stuff like that, not wanting people to live stream their stuff anymore.
Well, that's Nintendo. That's been a thing for a while now, and they're just, I guess, in a spree of actually enforcing it.
I think it's more of a matter of they're like, wait, everything went well with the console launch. We got to do something terrible.
We got to get bad press. We need bad press. Yeah, Nintendo's never been good when it comes to live streams and YouTube stuff. I remember when I worked with on Up Up Down Down with WWE. We had talks with Nintendo, and they wanted us to sign a licensing agreement in order to use their games. Basically, they would get a percentage of the advertising revenue that was made. So that's what they try to do now. They try to be like, either we're gonna block your crap, or you're gonna sign a licensing deal with us, and we're gonna get a decent chunk of the ad money. Which is kind of not cool.
Yeah, it's really not cool.
If YouTubers, granted, this is for WWE Up Up Down Down, but for YouTubers, the ad revenue really isn't a lot. So and for a lot of YouTubers, that's all they have is the ad revenue. Maybe their store's not doing so well, or they don't have a lot of patrons, or whatever, or they're not getting a lot of donations on the live streams or whatever. So maybe the ad revenue is all they've got, and Nintendo's just wants a piece of that pie, and it's not a lot of money.
Yeah, and that actually leads into something else that happened with YouTube this week, which is their new policy in regards to how they do monetization with their channels, in which now any new channels and new end cards and stuff like that will be affected by this, thankfully previous ones will not, but anyone who goes, let's say you start a YouTube channel, you will not be able to put in the clickable links and everything on your end card in your video at all for any external thing. No Patreon, no merchandise stores, nothing, until your channel gets 10,000 views. And if you're just starting out, that's basically saying literally the only thing you could do is maybe ad revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it does suck if you're starting out because you're not making any money on ad revenue at that point with that few views.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are upset about, is if people want to try getting into that world.
To be fair, it doesn't take much to get 10,000 views. And honestly, if you're not up to 10,000 views yet on your channel, chances are you don't have enough patrons or you don't have enough followers to really give you enough money through Patreon or buy enough of your merch to sustain you anyway.
True, but it does not help in the process of trying to get to that point.
I guess, like, I don't see much of a problem with it because even with my personal YouTube channel, I hit 10,000 eventually, no problem. And I also never put links to my Patreon or my merch stuff in the end cards of my videos. I always just left them in the descriptions.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, you also had a little bit of advantage over people like that because you did have some exposure and stuff on YouTube beforehand.
I mean...
And granted, it might not be considered much, but
I never,
more than some people.
But I'm saying I never put my stuff on the end cards anyway.
I know.
And to be fair, like, my video... Like, if I was going to be coasting off of any popularity I had from Up, Up, Down, Down, which I appreciate all my fans who followed me back then and still hang out with me and everything, but, like, if I was going to be able to coast on that, like, I would have gotten a lot more of a following than I actually did. I really didn't get that many people coming over from there.
I understand, but I'm saying it didn't hurt. And if it's someone brand new just starting off from nothing, it is going to hurt.
Yeah, but if you're starting out from nothing, the best advice, if you're on Twitch and YouTube and you're starting out from nothing, is make sure you have a day job where you're making enough money and this is a hobby.
True.
Like, when you get to 10,000 views... That's not even enough to sustain yourself. So why, like, honestly, why are you complaining about not being able to use your Patreon or not being able to use merch stores? Like, no offense, like, nobody is probably going to be buying your stuff when you're getting on your way to 10,000 views or supporting you on Patreon. Once you get to 10,000, that is a reasonable first step of being like, okay, well, maybe now you've got enough people watching your stuff to maybe now people want to contribute to your Patreon, or now people want to like buy your merch and stuff like that. Like, I don't think I've had a single merch sale on my store.
I'm just saying that it's not so much about your like personal ability to do so with fans, so much as them not allowing you to even try until you do.
I mean, you can still put the links in the description. You can still do a call out to it in the video. You just can't put the embed on the end slate, which it really isn't that big of a deal. It's not like they're saying you will get banned if you mention your Patreon. It's just, until you get 10,000 views, you can't super aggressively advertise it.
Well, it's one of the little things. I know it goes deeper with Patreon, and it was enough where Patreon has actually been commenting saying that they're going to look more into what's going on, because apparently it's starting to affect them as well. But
all right, let's move on to our final story real quick, and we're going to try and get through this real quick because we got to end the stream. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out with a story trailer this week, and it was good. Yeah. Very, very good. I was very excited about it. It confirmed that we will be going back in time, that it will be a prequel. We will be playing as a character. I cannot remember his name, but he is not John Marston. He is like a very bad dude. Yeah, Morgan. Who is a member of Dutch's gang. Seems like he might be like the muscle type character of the gang. And it's pretty much about Dutch's gang in its heyday, I believe. Oh. And I believe the story is that you're going to be traversing, like, with this outlaw camp, this gang, across, like, 3 states in-game. And the Red Dead Redemption 2 game world, is so big that all of Red Dead Redemption's 1's map is in Red Dead Redemption 2, and then there's other stuff.
Wow.
And then there was also an interesting thing where we got to see some cool things in the trailer, like the wildlife thing. We got to see an alligator eat something. We got southern bayous. Yep, we got to see some towns and stuff. Very pretty graphics, very pretty vistas. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
I loved Red Dead Redemption 1. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I cannot wait for Red Dead 2. And I really hope this has nothing to do with the trailer, really, because it was mostly story. But I really do hope they invest in Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer like they've been doing for Grand Theft Auto 5. Because if so, oh my god, is Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Anything to add? You saw the trailer or anything extra?
I didn't get to play that much of Red Dead 1, and I'm more focused on trying to get more into Destiny 2, because I have not gotten that
Gotta get that light level up. How you doing on it?
My light level last time I checked was like 204.
It's not bad. You're over 200. I'm at 268 right now.
I have not beat the
story
story yet, though.
I'm pretty sure you're over what you need, the light level you need to beat the story. So you shouldn't have any problem beating the main boss.
My problem is so much time.
Yep.
Yeah, because I get time, and it's like, oh, I could do 1 or 2 public events, not necessarily missions, but 1 or 2 public events, and then that's it.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play Destiny 2 at all this week at all. I haven't played even a second of it. Hopefully, I'll get some time over the weekend. Get myself raid ready because I really want to do that raid. But that's going to do it for us for the Super Grapple Bros podcast, episode 24. Do not forget, you can catch us live on Twitch, be part of the conversation in the chat at twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can watch us on VOD on Twitch as well as on YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. You can hear us in audio form on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and lots of other places where podcasts can be found. If you have any topics, trivia ideas, as we do trivia, questions, concerns, like I said, again, topics of conversation you might want us to bring up in the podcast, email us at supergrapplebros@gmail.com or mention it in the YouTube comments as well. Do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe across all platforms, especially in the audio versions, because the more you rate, more ratings and reviews we get, the more visibility we're granted on iTunes. Last but not least, you can find me on Twitter at L_Murpho. I try to let people know whenever we go live on Twitch, and I haven't been so good about the VOD and audio thing just because my schedule's been so busy, but I try to let people know when that's up. Normally, as a general rule of thumb, we're not allowed to put up on YouTube until 24 hours after Twitch. It's part of the whole affiliate thing with Twitch. So normally, if you see my tweet on Twitch that we're live, that next day is when it'll be on YouTube, and sometime within that 24 hour period, it will also be in audio form. So just use that as a guide. And then you can also find DMurph on Twitter at
DMurph_42.
All right, and I believe I covered all the shout outs and call outs and where they can find us. Right? I didn't forget anything.
I don't think so.
All good. All right, awesome. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We are gonna peace out, and yeah, we will see you guys next week, I believe. Hopefully, we'll see. If we don't do next week and things are too busy, we may take the week off since there's no pay-per-view to preview or review, just in case things get crazy. But if things aren't crazy for us, we will be back next week. But whether it's next week or 2 weeks from now, you guys will see us again. Thank you all so much for watching or listening. Until we see you again, deuces.
Peace.
Shut up and sit down.